Yeah, so when I lived on the island of Roatan, I was a real estate agent, and I used to make friends with all the hotel and bar and restaurant owners by bringing them clients, my real estate clients that I was taking around the island to see property. I would take them by these different places and make friends with the owners, and that way I'd get fed for free. And it was a great arrangement. And some of my very best friends were Andy and Donna, who owned this little hotel, and I used to bring my prospects there all the time. And they had this gorgeous little hotel and scuba diving operation, and the hotel was run by a really nice lady named Gail. And Gail was a single lady who ran the hotel front desk like a well-oiled machine. And, and Gail's best friend in the whole world was her cat. And Gail was a private person, kind of kept to herself, but that cat was her pride and joy. And, uh, and so I came over to the hotel one evening, and Andy and Donna were very depressed, and they act like almost like somebody had died. And I was like, "What's wrong with you guys?" And they were normally real happy and friendly, and this evening they weren't saying much, and we're kind of moping around, and they said, "Well, it's Gail." And I said, "What's wrong with Gail?" And she said, "Well, nothing's really wrong with her. It's her cat. Her cat's very sick and has been for a couple of weeks. And Gail really hasn't wanted to work. She hasn't really been up here taking care of the front desk for, a week or so. And the place is in chaos without her. And we don't really know what to do. She just sits in her room all day and just mopes over her cat. And we're not sure what to do. We finally got her, for the first time in over a week, we finally got her to go out with a couple of friends and go have dinner, and she's gone right now, but we don't know what to do. And I said, "Well, what's wrong with the cat?" And they said, "Well, the cat has breathing problems. It has this heavy breathing, and we don't really know what it is, but it's just, real weak and lays in its bed and, has real labored breathing." And I said, "Well, if it was a person, like on a dive boat, when I was in the Galapagos, we had several people who had breathing problems. We always put them on oxygen." And Andy's eyes got real big. He goes, "That's a great idea." He said, "I didn't even think of that. I got a dive boat down there, and I got a little oxygen bottle, and we should try to give it some oxygen. Maybe it'll get better." And Donna says, "Yeah." Donna was a real sweet, caring kind of person, and she was like, "Yeah, maybe it'll help." And so Andy scurries down to the dive boat and gets the oxygen bottle, and the three of us go downstairs to Gail's room. And Gail is very much like family to them, so it's okay if they go in her room. And they had actually, told her they would care for the cat while she was out having dinner. And so there we are in Gail's room, looking at this cat, and it is just laying all sort of forlorn in its bed, just kind of, with these breathing problems, and and so Donna very gently picks up the cat, and she says, "I'll wrap it in a towel so it won't struggle, and just I'll hold it, and Andy, you give it the oxygen." And he said, "Okay." So I'm holding the oxygen bottle, and Andy's got the mask, and Donna's got the cat, and we're all three huddled together, and Andy starts to put this oxygen mask, close to the cat's face. And the cat is very docile and trusting, and it knows Andy and Donna, and is not concerned in the least. It doesn't appear to me, until I turned the valve on that oxygen tank, and that oxygen started coming out of the mask that Andy is now holding close to the cat's face. And there's this hiss that comes out of it, this and when that cat heard that sound, it just, its eyes got really big, and Andy put the mask on its face, and the cat's just and finally it just and expires right there in Donna's hands. And all of a sudden, we're like, oh my gosh. And we're looking at each other. What do we, and Donna goes, do you think it's dead? And Andy goes, yeah, baby, it's dead, all right. And she's like, what are we going to do? What do we do now? And Andy's like, shit, man, just put it down. Put it back down in its bed and let's go on upstairs. We'll pretend like we never saw a thing, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I'm for that. Let's go up and have dinner. Yeah, forget all this. And Donna, who's just this sweet, compassionate person, she's like, oh, no, we can't do that. We've got to tell her. I can't pretend I don't know. And Andy, you know, starts rolling his eyes. He goes, come on, honey. I mean, you can't tell her we did this. And she's like, no, we can't. I can't lie to her. I'll never be able to keep a straight face. And you have to appreciate Donna's very moral and ethical and cares about Gail. And so they're like, well, what do we do? Do we just leave it here? Then she's going to come down. She's going to find it. And she'll be traumatized for another couple of weeks. She probably won't be back at work for a long time. You know, if she sees this cat, she's probably going to sit in here for a couple of days with it. You know, what do we do? And so Andy comes up with the bright idea that we're going to save Gail the trauma of seeing her dead cat, and we should go out in the backyard of the hotel and bury it. And I'm like, I'm not for this. You know, that's not a good idea. I mean, you know, a person needs, you know, some closure with a dead, you know, loved one. And Donna's like, yeah, you know, Andy, I don't know if that's a good idea, you know. And he goes, honey, you know, I know Gail, and if she sees this cat, she's going to stay in this room for 2 or 3 days with it, you know, and we may never get her back. And so they made the decision that it was best to bury the cat before Gail got home. And so Andy makes me go to the shed and get a shovel and come and bury this cat. I'm in the middle of this thing. And all I wanted to do was have dinner and a couple of drinks and go home and go to bed. Now I'm, you know, a grave digger in the backyard of the hotel, you know, and we're sitting there, you know, digging the grave. Andy's got the cat, and every car light that comes by, we're like, huh, you know, maybe it's Gail. And it's like we're doing something illegal here. So we dig this hole. I dig the hole, and Andy places the cat in there. We cover it up and head back to the hotel. And he goes, all right, you go put the shovel up and come on in. I'll pour you a drink, and you know, we'll make some dinner. And so I just know Gail is coming back. And being the coward that I am, I went to the shed, put the shovel up, got in my car, and hauled ass. And I passed Gail and her friends on the way in down this long road that goes to the hotel. And I mean, I missed them by just a few seconds, really. And I didn't come back. When I saw her, you know, I kind of waved, and I didn't come back to that hotel for 2 weeks. And I felt bad. I finally went over there to you know, tell them I was sorry for leaving, and find out what happened. And sure enough, Gail completely flipped out when she found out that the cat had died, and we had already had a funeral. And she couldn't believe it. And to the best of my knowledge, she tried to function for a few days and was just too distraught and got on a plane and went home to the States. And that was the end of that. And so I think the moral of this story is, you know, not to have the funeral before the loved ones arrive. That's the story of Gail's cat.